Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it, get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
Of all the many items found in America's home today, I would venture to say that one of the most common household items is a bucket. Ask any homeowner, farmer, or yes, even a young man that might be drumming buckets on the side of the busy street corner like this guy. Take a listen to this. And you'll discover that buckets are one of the most popular gadgets known to man. Why? Well, first of all, seeing as though a bucket is basically a hollow shell attached to a handle, buckets are simply constructed and simple to use. Heck, buckets are so simple, it's been said that two kids by the name of Jack and Jill were able to fetch some water with one. In fact, buckets are extremely practical and, although simple in nature, highly functional and can be used for all sorts of different projects. Their construction is usually that of a very hard plastic, which makes them light and sturdy, and they can hold liquid, solid materials, etc. Yet, with all of these wonderful qualities of buckets, there's a big problem. Buckets can leak. You see, when a bucket leaks, even if it's a slow leak, over time you lose whatever's in the bucket. So you might be saying, well, Tony, I thought this was a financial show. What do leaky buckets have to do with my retirement? As you'll see today, folks, the type of financial bucket or buckets you invest in could determine whether you have an enjoyable retirement or a worrisome one. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And today, as we record this show in our Louisville studios, February 11th, 2020, I am with America's favorite financial sidekick. Have I mentioned to you my favorite sidekick, that today is my...
It is your birthday.
Can we play some special effects or something?
Happy
Come
birthday
on,
to you. There you go. There's your special effects. Happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you very much. And with us always in the technical side of things, over there working feverishly on our TV show, which we record immediately following the radio show, is our own Megan Murphy. So it's good to have you both here. Thanks for coming in on an early Tuesday morning. And Aaron, we talked about this in our marketing meeting. We were going to try to talk about something we use daily in our practice called the split IRA concept. And we're going to assume some of you have not heard of that. Obviously, if you've seen our TV show, we illustrate that with buckets.
Right.
And I think over the years what's happened, and by the way, I'm not the only advisor who's used buckets to kind of help denote money and money flowing out of the bucket. So this is nothing new. But what is new, and what's really exciting, is over the years, and we've almost, I would say pretty much, I hate to use the word perfect, but we've perfected this process, something we call, and we're going to talk about this specifically today, the worry-free split IRA concept. It's a wonderful concept, and it's working very, very well. So if you're a saver out there and you're more concerned about the return of your money than on it, this is going to be a great show for you. If you've got a 401k plan, savings, inheritance, it doesn't matter. This split concept of splitting up money and putting it in what we call buckets is a wonderful, wonderful way to enjoy your money without the fear of running out of it. But first, Aaron, I guess I do want to talk about this whole bucket thing, because what did you think about my description of a bucket? Isn't it kind of interesting that a bucket is so simple, but think how handy a bucket is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're in the process of, putting together our basement, putting some, a bedroom down there and a bathroom down there and everything. And we had to bust up the floor to put the correct, plumbing in there and everything. And sure enough, what did we use to, get that dirt and concrete out of there? Buckets. We weren't grabbing it by the handfuls. We were grabbing it by the bucket full.
What'd you have, like one of those big heavy duty 5-gallon buckets?
Oh yeah. A couple of them.
Yeah.
quite the workout.
but you're right, yeah, because you couldn't take a wheelbarrow down there.
They can't take a wheelbarrow down to the basement, so just open up one of those windows and start, handing buckets back and forth and just filling them up, dumping them in the dumpster outside, sticking them back through the window. Yeah.
Oh, you did. So you had somebody outside.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, you had a regular kind of
An
assembly
line going. Yeah.
Good job over there. I'm impressed. Where are you on this basement? I mean, it's been going on for like 8 years.
Oh, we're doing good. We've finished Preston's room. He spent the night down there for the first time the other night, and he loved it. He loved it. I was a little nervous. I thought, man, he's gonna hear all the different noises of like the furnace kicking on or whatever. He loves it. He loves it down there.
That's so funny. When we moved to our our third home, we had a basement, and Philip was our oldest. We put him down there, and that was the very thing we worried about. We're thinking, okay, we got these bedrooms, the way we lined our house up. He's going to have to stay down there. He absolutely loved it. He moved out. Lacey moved in. She loved it. By the time we moved from that house, Anthony could care less. We'd already moved, but yeah. And then I had a basement growing up in Lexington. My mom still lives in that same house, but now it's a little different. It was an older home, Aaron. We never finished it out. And to this day, I can remember when I would go down in the basement, we had our drum set down there, instruments, pool table. I would never be scared, but this is a true story, as I was young. When I'd walk back up the steps, there was a big furnace underneath the steps, the open kind of steps, and I would run real fast up the steps. I was always worried something was going to come out of there and grab me. So folks, this is not going to be a scary show. This is going to be a talk and a discussion on your money. How do we take this concept of buckets, something that's very simple to understand, and wrap it around and pour into this bucket something that's very, very complicated to understand, which is your retirement and your money. So this worry-free split IRA concept that I came up with, it's been in the working for years, literally after 9/11. In fact, after 9/11, I think it's good to go back in time, folks, and understand my background. I had, and I'm going to be talking about this couple later. I had a couple in the office yesterday, Aaron, and it was funny. They're very, very flustered with their current advisor. Now, folks, we're not bashing advisors. There's a lot of great advisors out there, but here's the trend I see all the time with buckets and financial buckets is they are leaking. And I'll explain this at the end of the show. You've got to this is going to be a great show, folks. So if a bucket is not sealed well, if it has little holes in it, little infinitesimal holes, and if you pour water or some sort of fluid in there over time, it's going to leak. And that's the problem with much of your money. You have leakage going on, and you don't even know it yet. So anyway, this couple came in, and as I always start off, I say, okay, what brings you in today? And they said, well, we've been watching you on the TV show, heard you a few times on radio, and we just really want you to look at our stuff. And I said, well, what's going on? Because they had, Aaron, they had literally piles of paperwork. Sometimes people bring in, a little bit of paperwork, but this was piles. They wanted me to look at everything. And I said, wow, it's a lot of paperwork. Their response was, yeah, no, that's the problem.
That's right.
So I started looking at it, and I said, do you have any idea what these fees are? And he said, well, that's one of the reasons we're in here. We've been going to this gentleman for years. We like him. He's a nice fella. But every time we ask about fees, the subject always seems to get magically changed or modified, or don't worry about that. They're very competitive. And this is what bugs me about our industry, folks. See, I'm a fiduciary. Not only do I have to tell you what's in the buckets, in your financial buckets, what products they are, I have to, and I want to, disclose to you our fees and commissions. We're very transparent about that. I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'll tell you what kind of assets I own, my investments. I won't give you exact amounts, can't get that personal, but I'll tell you how many annuities I own, what type of annuities, what type of life insurance I own, how much money I have in the stock market, what I think about real estate. But folks, a lot of advisors don't want to talk to you about fees. In fact, one of the funniest ads I see on TV, and they're a pretty big firm. Again, we don't name firms on this, folks. We're not trying to, kill the messenger. We're just trying to kill the message here. This is a great one. This is a firm that charges fees, which we do too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But they charge fees, and the fees are pretty expensive. I know what their fees are. I've had a client that shared their literature with me, and they're pretty high. I think they're like 1.5% per year. That's pretty high. But their slogan is this. I love this, Aaron. This is catchy, by the way. We do better. That's the firm, right? When you do better. Now, that's a good saying, isn't it?
It's a good little quote.
I like it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, what if I told you, though, that this firm does better when you do worse? They don't tell you that.
They don't say that, do they?
No, because nobody wants to talk about fees. So what we're going to talk about today when I come back, we're going to dive into what is exactly the worry-free split IRA, Why is it that we have literally over 2,000 people taking advantage of this concept? And how is it that Tony Walker Financial, an independent fiduciary, could have created something so simple yet so effective, and why savers love this process called the worry-free split IRA concept? I'm Tony Walker. You stay tuned. I'll be right back.
The three biggest commitments you'll ever make are marriage, your career, and who you'll trust with your money in retirement. So who are you going to trust? Don't leave your retirement to chance. Do yourself a favor and plan on attending well-known retirement planning specialist Tony Walker's next free educational workshop, The Ages and Stages of Retirement, Monday, March 16th in Louisville and Tuesday, March 17th in E-Town. Learn how to be worry-free in retirement. These workshops are free, but registration is required. So log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Well, our theme today, folks, yes, this is a financial show, but it is about buckets and the usefulness of these simple gadgets known as buckets, and how we can relate that to the buckets of money in your retirement and what we call our split IRA concept. Now, I want to go back in time. You have to, I think with any advisor, quite frankly, you should ask them a lot about their history, because that'll tell you a lot. I got in the business. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. This advisor also, I asked him about who they were, this last couple I was talking about. I said, by the way, have you talked to your advisor about the fees? And they said, oh, yeah. In fact, we told them we're going to go see Tony Walker. I thought this was funny. And I said, oh, did he or she have a reaction to that? And they said, yeah, he or she said that there's certain things Tony Walker can't do in terms of investments. And I thought, wait a minute. How does this person know what we do? They don't have a clue what we do. So I would invite advisors that listen to this show, and I'll promise to do the same. I won't speak on behalf of you by name if you don't speak on behalf of me by name, because quite frankly, most of you have no clue what we do. I think we've earned a reputation, Aaron, around the country as doing a lot of annuities, and as we'll see in a minute here, that's not all that we do.
Right.
I mean, it's comical. I had a young lady come in, this was about a year ago, been to a bank, did the same thing, told the banker, they were an investment person, I think we're going to go see Tony Walker, and she said, the gentleman said kind of, out of the side of his mouth, oh, so you're going to go there so he can slap you in an annuity. I thought, okay, so that's what this person thinks.
We do a weekly television show and radio show, and if all we did were annuities, well, shows would get real boring real
that's
quick.
Right. That's right. Yeah, and we're going to find that out. And so, yeah, I've been licensed to sell securities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, used to do limited partnerships. Folks, I've done it all since 1986. I got in the business in 84, insurance license, then I got into securities in 86. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, Aaron. I was one of the first in the country back in the mid-90s to literally offer registered investment advisory services. Most advisors back then worked with broker-dealers. Nobody was doing that. So I was charging fees under a platform through Charles Schwab in the mid-90s on my own. Kind of parked that process after 9/11, and here's why. Because right after 9/11, when they flew into those buildings, people forget, Aaron, that the year before and the year after, 3 years in a row, the market went down and never came back for 3 years. And it was that time in my practice, I thought, you know what, this is crazy. I've got all of these people's money in the stock market. They didn't like losing it. I didn't like losing it. I don't like losing money. I'm a saver. So I started spending time working on this concept called the 3 personalities of money. In fact, folks, if you want to take a free test, I majored in psychology at Western Kentucky University, so I used a couple of psychologists there to help create the testing for this. So it was developed by people that know how to do testing, because I wanted people to try to understand what is your predominant financial personality. There's 3 of them. There's savers, investors, and speculators. So this show, this is the thing that confuses people, I think, here. And this show is really dedicated to savers. So although we do investments, we'll talk about that. And next week, by the way, we're going to go into great detail on our Charles Schwab platform. So if you really want to understand how we work with Charles Schwab, how we do our investment side of things in great detail, next week we'll cover that. But basically, that's why we have the Schwab program, and since I reopened that in April of 2017, since that time, Aaron, just to prove that we do investing for people outside annuities, we've opened over, Megan, what was that number again? I lost it. Was 1,100 accounts or something like that? Do you remember? Okay. So we've opened since April of 2017, 1,189 accounts with Schwab, and we're just over now $90 million under management with Charles Schwab. Those are not annuities, folks. So yeah, while we've written probably close to $400 million of annuities over the years, our Schwab platform is growing. So I just want to make sure people understand, I do not hate the stock market. What I hate is savers being duped into thinking they need 100% of their money in the stock market. Number one, that's not where savers need to be with all of their money. Number two, if the market goes down, just like 9/11, you're going to really be scared to death. We don't want that. We don't want you to worry about money. So what did we do with this split IRA concept? Remember, it's geared towards savers. Now, we can divide it up into more than two buckets. And again, I would invite you so you can see more of an illustration on this. The show that we're going to be recording on TV today, all of those episodes are on, is it 8 different TV stations?
We're on 8 different stations now.
So we're on 8 different stations throughout Kentucky. We've got a bunch of shows, stations in Louisville. We got one in Lexington on LEX TV. We've got them in Bowling Green. So if you'd like to catch a live show, that's a pre-recorded show that's live on the air, all you got to do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and there's a listing of shows. What would they just hit on the menu bar is probably the best way, Aaron?
Yeah, if they go to that menu bar up at the top right-hand corner, there's a media page, and they can click on that. It'll show them the stations. It'll show them the times. And if they can't make that, they can always go to our YouTube channel and check out past episodes.
And describe YouTube. I mean, I say that because I mentioned that to my mom. She doesn't have the internet. She goes, what's YouTube? But just in case, because that is a good way to go back and look at the past episodes.
So what you can do is you can go on the internet and you can type in youtube.com, youtube.com. Mm-hmm. And there will be a search bar there. You just type in Tony Walker Financial. You're going to be the first thing that pops up. You just click on the picture of Tony right there, and you're going to find all kind of videos. You're going to find not only past episodes, you're going to find little excerpts from shows if you don't have time to watch an entire show. There's past webinars on there. There's even clips from past workshops on there. Okay. So if people...
I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah, if people, want to sign up for a workshop, but they just haven't made it yet, if they want to catch a little glimpse and see what it's all about, all that stuff's on youtube.com.
And that's a good point. A lot of people say, hey, how come you're not doing as many workshops? Well, we only do a couple a year now, but I didn't even know those were on there. So that's a good way. We have a lot of educational opportunities on the website. So if you want to watch past episodes of the show, clips, past workshops, we do have a workshop coming up March 16th in Louisville and March 17th in Elizabethtown called The Ages and Stages of Life. It's a brand new workshop I've put together, great new content. And what it's going to talk about is kind of tied into the 3 personalities of money. But what we're going to be talking about is understanding how your life evolves and how it changes and how your investing needs to change. That's another thing. Although we do work with younger people, that's not really our bailiwick. Our sweet spot are those people that are retired or retiring soon. And what I have to remind them of, hey, maybe you've done well in the market, that's great, but what got you there may not keep you there. That market could go down at any time, and assuming you don't want to have to go back to work, you have to be safe with your money. So let's kind of describe, and then when I come back, I'm going to go through this case I've been working on, but let me describe what is the split IRA concept, and how does this really work, and how does it benefit savers? So if you can imagine 2 buckets, all right? One bucket will have what we call our Charles Schwab platform. We may not have, let's use math real quick. Let's say you have $200,000 total from a 401k, or maybe you got $2,000 you just inherited, or $2,000 sitting at the bank, or $200,000 that somebody's charging too much in fees on, and you say, Tony, I want this to your firm. I want to move it over. I want you to handle it. I want you personally oversee it. I want a local retirement specialist. I'm tired of 1-800 numbers. I'm tired of nobody returning my calls. I want you guys to handle it. So we would handle it. Now, the first step of that process is we move the money over. So I think, Aaron, you haven't been in those meetings. You know what one of the most anxious points of a meeting is when people say, okay, I'm ready to do business with you? What's going through their mind, you think? They got this money somewhere. What would you think? What would be your biggest concern?
Fees would be one of the biggest things I would think about would be, what's this going to cost me?
There you go. Yeah, what's this going to cost me, and who goes and gets the money? Because it's very awkward. So first of all...
Oh, you mean like who has to call and get the money moved over?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So there's obviously fees and costs involved on the other end. We don't have any upfront costs to come over to us, but I think that's the most anxious point. So like the case I'm going to describe in a minute, these people, like this person, they don't have any problem with a broker, But what they're getting ready to find out when I meet with them again, the fees are ridiculous. So if you're going to get out of all these fees and you want to take advantage of our split IRA concept, we handle all the money movement. We go get the money so you don't have to be put between a rock and a hard place and make it all awkward. We do all that for you. So let's take this $200,000 example. All right, so the $200,000 would come over. Again, this could be money in the bank. We have a lot of people that are tired of low CD rates. So what we do, we split it up. We put a portion of the money with Charles Schwab. We have 5 portfolios to choose from that we personally manage. You can choose something that has zero money in the stock market, or you can choose a portfolio that has as much as 80 to 85% in the stock market. So again, keep in mind in this example, we may only put maybe 40 to 50,000 of the 200. See what we're doing, Aaron? Into that bucket. So even if a person says, well, you know, I don't mind taking a little risk, if we take 50,000, put it in the Charles Schwab bucket, and even invested at 80% in the market, that means that out of the full 200, only about 40,000 is in the market. Because what we do with the 150, that's where we put it in the safety and security of the fixed annuities, which have no risk. See where we're going with this, Aaron?
Okay.
So that's how we split it up. Now, what we do then is the Schwab account is linked to your checking. We do all this for you. So that way, if you need money right now, or if you have a wild hair and you need $5,000 out of the blue, you call us. We get it sent over to your checking account. Pronto. We'd handle all that for you. No cost to do any of that work for you, folks. That's all gratis. We take care of everything. And then with the annuity, we show you how to use that to avoid what's called surrender charges. So folks, if you put all of your money in annuity, I saw this the other day, this is really blind faith, because once you put it in there, with most annuities, there's surrender penalties of varying types. Incidentally, if you want to learn about the truth of annuities, I've been doing these for years, folks. Please log on and download a free copy of the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. It's at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That'll give you the truth and the pros and the cons of annuities. You know, rather than listening to some guy on the internet that doesn't even sell annuities or understand anything about them or has a conflict of interest because they are offering maybe only products from Wall Street, you can't listen to those people. They don't even understand annuities, nor can they make money on them. No wonder they don't want you investing in them. So it's the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. Download that. So the annuities are in the second bucket. That's our safety and security bucket. That's where if you want to down the road, we can take our mailbox money. So it's really very simple. The hard part of that process is, Aaron, you need a large staff, which I do, to handle the process. So when we come back, folks, I'm going to share with you an actual case I'm working on. You're going to be alarmed to see how leaky the current buckets these people have with this advisor and how we're going to plug up those leaks and save these people a ton of money on their investments. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker, and I am pleased to announce, hopefully you've already heard a little bit about this, but my latest book, Aaron, this is my favorite, obviously. This is more of a memoir. You've read this, haven't you?
Yeah.
Live Well, Die Broke. It was funny, I had a couple people review it, and they said, well, Tony, that doesn't sound too good to have an advisor tell you to die broke. Folks, this is a deeper book than that. The whole concept is we all die broke. Whether you got $1 million or $4 in your pocket, when we die, that's it. So the point is, what I've learned in meeting with over 15,000 savers over the past 35 years, what I've realized, even in my own life, growing up as a lower middle class kid in Lexington with divorced parents and trying to figure out this whole money thing, is that it's a temporary journey. This money is just a temporary use. You can't take it with you. And you better, listen closely folks, I mean this, you better learn to use and enjoy it while you can. All I do is sit and meet with people, and many of these people are retired. Many of these people have already lost spouses. Many of these people are having poor health issues. Met a gentleman yesterday, Aaron, Parkinson's is hitting. And he was a cool dude, though. He's a client of mine, telling jokes about it, but you know what? Deep down, he's worried. He knows that this could be bad. I mean, when you start getting Parkinson's in your 70s, who knows where that's going to go? So the purpose of the book, and this is interesting, since we've last talked, back at the end of February, Aaron, we had a marketing firm to agents. Keep in mind, here's what I'm getting at here. This book is the only book that I know of that was written to both agents, advisors, and consumers. So I want to share with advisors on how they can better understand consumers. Hopefully they can help more people worry less about money. And I want consumers to understand what life and money is all about. But this firm loved this book so much that they sent an email blast out to over 40,000 of their advisors in their database. Wow. They wanted advisors to get a hold of this book to help them.
Good.
So this book really, although it shares the philosophy of Tony and what I do, it really doesn't have anything to do with Tony Walker Financial. In fact, locally, former pastor of Southeast Christian Church, Mr. Bob Russell, he even gave us a little quote, nice quote on the book. It says, regardless of your investment experience, this book will help you develop a wise financial plan with a unique challenge to live well and die broke. So we really appreciate that from Mr. Russell. But I think he saw in this book, this is just about life and money, okay? All right, enough of that. If you want to order the book, it's on Amazon.com, Live Well, Die Broke. All right, let's get back. Aaron's winding down. Come on now, Tony, we're about out of time. So this is important. A couple comes in, boatloads of paperwork. I ask why they're there, and it's like, we have no clue what's going on. We love our advisor to death, but every time we bring up fees, the subject somehow gets muddled or changed.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. There you go. Okay, so I get all the stuff out. I'm trying not to say anything. Here's how our process works, because I go through a fact finder, then I have a second appointment, but I could tell these people wanted to know. They said, Tony, can you tell what he's charging us? And I said, unfortunately, I can. They went, what? I said, well, basically on your annuities, there were variable annuities, which we don't do because of this reason. The variable annuities are around 3.5%. So held on to your hats here, folks. So they had about $400,000 in variable annuities, 3.5%, Aaron. Let's see, I did the math real quick. Let me get to my page. 3.5% of that is right at $14,000 in fees per year. I didn't say one time. You're cringing even.
And it's gone.
That's a lot of buckets.
Yeah, that's a
it's
big
gone forever.
bucket.
Now listen to this. Then they had about $200,000 in a brokerage account with this broker. Couldn't figure out the fees. I figured out very quickly it was right at 2%. So on this total amount of money, $600,000, they didn't realize this. They are charged, before they ever make a penny, $18,000 a year in fees. Now what I'm going to propose, they haven't seen this yet, what I'm going to propose, we're going to use our Charles Schwab platform with our split IRA. Again, folks, you don't have to have IRAs to do this. We just call it the split IRA concept because we're using two different buckets. That bucket we're going to put $200,000 in is 0.8%, $1,600, not bad.
Not bad.
Right? The other bucket, we're going to use fixed annuities, but I think in their case, I'm not going to use annuities with fees. I think I can get around that because of what I'm going to show them. So there's no fees on the $400,000 all of a sudden. So that is a savings, Aaron, drum roll please, of over $16,000 a year.
I was just getting ready to say $1,600 as opposed to $18,000.
It's
Sign
crazy.
me up.
Crazy. So folks, if you're sitting there and you feel like this couple, if you feel like you're in the dark, if you've got buckets of money and you're not even sure what they're leaking or how much they're growing or how you're going to use it, that is no way to treat retirement. I've been doing this for 35 years. I have worked countlessly with thousands of people and have a huge team of service experts that wants to be of help to you. It's called the Worry-Free Retirement, and we'd like the opportunity to share with you how this process works, and more specifically, the split bucket concept works. It's very, very effective, highly useful, and what you're going to find out, it's actually very simple to use once you allow us to implement it for you. So to take advantage of meeting with me in person or talking to me by phone, there is absolutely no cost or obligation. All you do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, Let's Get Started, or you can call us at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. And oh yeah, by the way, you can actually click on the link. It's found at TonyWalkerFinancial.com if you'd like to purchase my latest book, Live Well, Die Broke. All right, next week we are going to go into a deeper dive of what is Charles Schwab, who are they, how do we work with them as a custodian, and how does our portfolios and our fees really help you get ahead of the game. That's next week on the Worry-Free Retirement. Between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.